Hi there everyone, your pal Ralph here with another vlog. So earlier today, I finished watching season 3 of Haikyu, and just like with the first 2 seasons, whenever I finished watching through those, I'm gonna be giving my thoughts, and I'm gonna be recapping the events of the 3rd season, so there's gonna be spoilers. But yeah, this is a Haikyu season 3 recap. So let's get on with it. So season 3 of Haikyu is the shortest season of the series so far, and seasons 1 and 2 are both 25 episodes each. This one, it's only 10 episodes. Now this follows the events of season 2, where at the end of season 2, the Karasuno volleyball team, they win the semifinals of the spring tournament. So season 3 is them in the finals going up against Shiratorizawa, and that's all this 3rd season is. It's just one match against Shiratorizawa, and honestly, it didn't feel like it dragged on. It feels like it needed these 10 episodes to show all of the worthwhile parts of this episode, or not episode, of this match. And it's a really good season. Whether season 2 or 3 is better, that's probably up to personal opinion. Honestly, I have a hard time deciding which one I like better, because season 3 has a really intense match, but season 2 had a lot happen in it. Like the second match against Alba Josai, it had the training camp arc in Tokyo. There was a lot of good things that happened in season 2, which, I mean, if it weren't for the events of season 2, then season 3 never would have happened. But season 3 was really, really good. So season 3 starts off, I tweeted this earlier, like when I started season 3, but the beginning, like the first episode of season 3 feels like a movie to me. Like, it's building up the match against Shiratorizawa and their star player Ushijima, and like just the way it's paced, and like even the animation and like the art style feel like it's better in quality, and to me it just feels like a movie. It's building up the start of the match, where like introduced to the members of Shiratorizawa, and we're seeing like some familiar faces that showed up in Haikyu before, like the captain of the girls volleyball team, like she's cheering on Karasuno, like, and then a whole bunch of students from Karasuno High School are cheering on the team, and it's just really, really cool. And then the first episode ends like with the match starting. Karasuno, they show off a little by having Hinata just do like a downward spike to show Shiratorizawa that they're not going to be pushovers. And then like the very last thing that the episode shows is Ushijima. He ends up hitting the ball, and Nishinoya, he has trouble receiving it, and that's because Ushijima is left-handed. And in volleyball, if you hit a ball left-handed, apparently right-handed players are going to have a lot of trouble, just because they won't be used to like how the ball rotates. Don't know if that's like actually the case in real life, but I mean, I guess it checks out. I don't play volleyball, so I don't know, but yeah, Ushijima just shows off that he is a powerhouse right at the start. Also, the first episode reveals that the match against Shiratorizawa is going to be 5 sets as opposed to 3 sets like all the other matches have been, because it's like the finals of a tournament, so those are always 5 sets. It's best 3 out of 5, so whoever gets 5 wins first wins. But yeah, so the first set of the match ends with Shiratorizawa winning, and Karasuno is just having trouble dealing with Ushijima in general. And then to make things worse, like during the second set, one of the blockers of Shiratorizawa, his name is Tendo, he has like crazy red spiky hair that and like these big eyes that are really expressive. He is really, really good at blocking and like guessing where the ball will go like when he blocks. So Karasuno ends up having trouble just getting past his blocks, which I thought was pretty interesting because the main focus of Shiratorizawa has been Ushijima up until this point, but we're seeing one of the other characters, so like that's another roadblock for them. Even with crazy red-haired guy Tendo doing like all of his blocks, Karasuno is still holding their own against Shiratorizawa, especially Tsukishima. He's doing a lot of really good blocks, or just one touches, I think they're called, where like you try to block the ball but like you'll still touch it and it'll still like go forward, but you like slow down the momentum for others to get it. Like Tsukishima is being very persistent against Shiratorizawa against that, which ends up putting a lot of pressure on Shiratorizawa, although it's not noticeable at first. But at a critical moment when the setter of Shiratorizawa, whose name I don't remember, when he tries to set the ball to or toss the ball to Ushijima, he screws up his toss, which lets Tsukishima do this really amazing block. And this is like where his character development comes in full force, because like this is where he finds his particular moment in volleyball that gets him hooked on it, because he's always been like, oh, volleyball is just a club. But after he does his block against Ushijima, he lets out this amazing, just triumphant like victory yell, which it was a really, really good moment. And Tsukishima, he easily became one of my favorite characters just from that, because like now he's starting to enjoy volleyball and he's actually really good at blocking. So that was really cool. That was really, really cool to see him block this person that's always been hyped up as a powerhouse. And actually, Tsukishima's block is what ends up letting Karasuno take the second set, so now it's 1-1 for both teams. The third set of the match doesn't really get that much focus compared to everything else. Shiratorizawa, they end up getting the victory in the third set, so now they have 2 wins over Karasuno, which puts pressure on Karasuno, because now if Shiratorizawa ends up winning the 4th set, then they have 3 wins, and overall they just win the match. So the 4th set has like all this pressure on Karasuno to win. But yeah, the 3rd set, like, I'm still surprised like at how fast it went. Honestly, I think it was over in like 1 episode. So the 4th set of the match is pretty neck and neck, and I forgot to mention this, but in the 2nd set, Karasuno, they won after being at a deuce, and when a set is at a deuce, like the first to 2 points wins, and that happens here in the 4th set as well. Karasuno makes it to another deuce, but they end up getting the victory here after Hinata does this really neat like left-handed hit, because he's right-handed, and Kageyama, he actually like screws up his toss to Hinata, because he's just getting really exhausted, just because the ball goes to Kageyama a lot, so he's using up a lot of energy. So like he starts to feel the fatigue from the match. But Hinata ends up winning the 4th set for the team by hitting the ball with his left hand and surprising everyone. So now they're both Shiratorizawa and Karasuno are at 2 wins. So the 5th set, in terms of points, is actually shorter than the other 4 sets, where in those other 4 sets, it was the 1st to 25, unless you're at a deuce, like 1st to 25 points wins. In the 5th set, it's 1st to 15 points wins, again, unless you're at a deuce. But Kageyama, he ends up getting subbed out just so he can rest, and Sugawara ends up taking his place for a little bit. At some point, Hinata takes a hit to the face, because that just happens. Like he purposely makes it so he doesn't get hit like in the front of the face. Like instead he gets hit, I think in this cheek or this cheek, but like the reason he does that is because if he were to get a nosebleed, then he would have to sit the match out until like his nosebleed recovers, and he didn't want that. But I thought that was pretty funny. Another thing that happens in the 5th set is Tsukishima, he ends up getting injured. One of his pinkies, I believe it's his right pinky, so not this one, but it ends up like bleeding from just blocking Ushijima so much, or like just getting in the way of his spikes, and Ushijima hits really hard, so Tsukishima has to go to the infirmary for a little bit, and one of the second years actually ends up subbing in for him. His name is Enoshita, I believe, or no, Enoshita is the one that subbed in during the Wakutani match in the second season. I think Narita, I believe, but it was nice to see him get to play for a little bit. During the 5th set, Ushijima, he ends up just getting fired up, and he just really wants to prove that he's better than Hinata just because he wants to. But it ends up getting to a deuce for the 5th set, and Tsukishima, he ends up coming back, and what happens? I'm trying to remember because a lot happened in the 5th set. The last rally of the 5th set, pretty much just everyone from like both teams participating, and it gets really, really intense. Like the 6 that are in Karasuno are that are participating, like that are on the court right now. There's Hinata, Kageyama, of course, Asahi, Daichi, Tsukishima, and Tanaka. So that's 6 people there. I think it's Tanaka. But Tsukishima ends up doing what he usually does, and like he's reading Ushijima's hits, which lets Kageyama block it, and then some more like hitting the ball occurs, and eventually it gets to the very end where Kageyama ends up tossing it, and all like the remaining 5 do a synchronized attack, which is what like they practice using synchronized attacks, but this time like it's all 5 of them. Especially like Hinata, he goes from the back line and does a jump, and he ends up hitting the ball and scoring the final point for Karasuno, netting them the win. And I got really emotional once Karasuno got the win, because there was a scene early on, or like halfway through the 3rd season, that focuses on when the 3rd years of Karasuno, Daichi, the captain, Asahi, and Sugawara, like when they first joined the Karasuno team, and like that's when Karasuno was just bad. But like seeing them just like getting emotional and crying that they won the tournament and Karasuno is going to nationals in their last year, that got me really emotional, because I like all of the characters in the Karasuno team, but just seeing how like just happy they were, like it brought them, like they were all like hugging each other, and then like all the second years ended up rushing like Tsukishima, Hinata, and Kageyama, like all the team are like incredibly happy. I just really enjoyed that, and the MVPs of the match were Tsukishima and Nishinoya. I didn't really talk much about Nishinoya here, but he saved a lot of, like he made a lot of really good receives against Shiratorizawa. Like him and Tsukishima like worked really well together. Like Tsukishima would read Ushijima's spikes and make it so like Ushijima had to redirect the ball to Nishinoya, and just those 2 working together were a really, really good defense, and it's really good. After the match, we get the award ceremony, we get a little celebration after for Karasuno, and then the season ends with the official coach of Karasuno, Takeda, because Ukai he's the real coach, he's the one that has like the volleyball knowledge. Takeda is the one that gets them the practice matches to practice, but Takeda, he ends up saying at the very end of the season that Kageyama has to go to a national youth volleyball camp thing. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but that's actually really exciting because now we have, but I assume the 4th season is going to have a lot of like focus on Kageyama's character development, so that's something I'm really excited for. But that's the events of the 3rd season, at least recounted to the best of my ability, and I really enjoyed the season. Now, like I said before, if it weren't for the training camp arc in the 2nd season, then this season would have ended very, very differently. Like, Karasuno improved so much because of that training camp, and it was because of how much they improved that they were able to get a win against Shiratorizawa, although they did get the win through the skin of their teeth. But it's still a win, and now they're going to nationals, which is really exciting, because I mean we've seen teams from other parts of Japan. I think it's from Tokyo, like Nekoma, Fukurodani, and there was a 3rd school in the training camp arc, but like we're probably going to be seeing more of them now that nationals is coming up, and I'm really, really excited for that. This was a really, really good season. I'm really excited to see what the 4th season holds. But yeah, that's going to be it for my recap of Season 3, as well as some thoughts on the season. But yeah, I'm really excited to start Season 4 at some point. But yeah, this was a fun season. Haikyu is really fun. You all should watch it if you haven't. But that's going to be it for this vlog. If you want to talk about Haikyu, you can just talk about everything up until the end of the 3rd season, so don't spoil anything. I believe the manga is actually finished, so don't spoil how it ends or anything that happens after the Shiratorizawa match, but yeah. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time for another vlog. Later.